We are going to be very informal. We're going to cover some subjects that we couldn't finish covering the other night in the meeting that we had in the city commission meeting. So first of all, I want to let you know there are some resources available if you can give to your community, to your neighbors. We have FEMA information. We have our program information over here, which take back to your neighbors, take back to the community, please, on these information. So what I'm going to do real quick, we'll get rolling. I'm going to ask Angela from our city, Briggs, to come up and talk about so that you can take information back to your community regarding some assistance that the city will have for housing options that you can take back, repair options. So I know, Angela, come on, darling.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. We really appreciate it. We're community development for the city of Deltona, and we have approximately about $800,000 and we need to spend it. The first thing I'm going to say is if you are 62 years and older and you meet the income guidelines, we will give you a free roof as of right now, if we can get you approved. That's the first thing. We won't take much of your time. The rest of it is we have disaster funds. I think we go up to, what is it, Damaris, 40,000 or 60,000 on the disaster funds?
For disaster?
40,000.
With a 5-year lease.
With the 5-year lien. The thing is that we really need for you all to contact us and give us some information, because what we want to do is go back to Tallahassee and say to them, hey, these guys don't want to file against their insurance and you have this money. So we have X amount of people that would take advantage of these funds if we just don't make them go through FEMA. Because if you go through FEMA, you're gonna have to file against your insurance. We have this money and we don't want to give it back, or we never give it back, but then we don't get any more if we don't spend it. So if you know anyone that's 62 years and older, tell them to come in and get a free roof to begin with. And then please get one of these brochures, take it to your church, take it to your work, anywhere you can. These are Deltona funds, you have to live in Deltona, but we do have partners in Volusia County and other places that we can refer you to. But please take one of the brochures, call us. We really would like to spend this money because we find out if we spend the money, they give us more money. So if you want more money, tell everybody for us, please. And if you have any questions, we're going to be here for a while. You all can ask that. You can also get in touch with the commissioner, and she knows how to get us. She calls us all the time.
Is this for housing repair?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
And you said 40,000?
80,000, but in some cases. Is it only 40?
All right, well, Angela is going over that. So I know that we're not out here because it's party time. Everybody that is sitting in here, I have talked to you in one fashion or another regarding the loss of property, the loss of something else, and I just really want to prioritize here on this right here. I know that we had unanswered questions. I know that David Hamster came the other night, and what I'm trying to do is we have our equal responsibility here, one to another. Our residents reporting in, right, I need to hear, and I heard from you all the other night, and not only did I hear from you, but I heard you. And what I'm trying to do now is, you know, in listening the other night to the residents, everybody needs a place to land. Everybody is hurt right now in our community, hurt, angry, frustrated. This is a long-term situationship. This didn't just happen. This has been developing in our community for a long time, and I think that and giving proper responsibility where it goes, there has been missteps in engineering, there has been missteps in development, there's been missteps in spending where we needed to spend because we went through a really dry period. So I no longer want to lay blame, but I really do want to talk about what we're doing moving forward. And some of the things that we're talking about right now is I know the city manager is talking about the purchase of some homes that are in the flooded area. I know that we are checking with FEMA because FEMA does have some caveats, and that's very important to say that they have some caveats. Either way, we're here now. I am taking responsibility for what my office is doing right now, and that is either putting a moratorium on development until we can catch our breath. It is spending stormwater funds because we did a stormwater assessment this year because we knew that we needed this. Last year, I think that we used about $500,000 from general fund for stormwater projects because the stormwater fund was low. We're not keeping up, right? Because our infrastructure is outdated and we are having to rebuild stuff that is very old on top of designing and making it better for new development. And I know that we have Jordan now in our planning and zoning department who is very tough on wanting the best for Deltona. He's accessible anytime to talk with him about what his vision is. And when I say his, I mean that department's vision is how we move forward healthy. So we're going to talk about that. I also, we have Red Cross here. I will tell you that if you or your neighbor need decontamination kits, like you were talking about a scent in your house or smell in your house, we have those available for free from the Red Cross. If you have notepads, if you know of a neighbor, if you know of a neighborhood that we didn't get, I know that you guys, you want to come on that for a second? I know that they have been out tirelessly handing out these. So you want to talk about what you guys are doing? Thank you so much. I know you were out today.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness. I've been out putting together some of those kits that she's talking about. For those of you who have roof damage and need tarps and cleaning supplies and shovels, rakes to try to clean out the areas, because I know it's hard to get those things recovered. So Red Cross has a kit, and what we did was we wanted to put it as centralized as we could. So we did collaborate between your county, your area, as well as DeBerry. So at the community church in DeBerry, between the hours of 9 and 3, Monday through Friday, you're able to go by there and pick up your kit with your rake and your shovel. If for some reason you have difficulty getting that, you can always reach out to Commissioner McCool or also to myself. I'm the executive director for this county as well as two others, and I will definitely make sure that you get that. Also, one of the key things that you guys should do, which will help us to identify and get recognition in your area, is to call 1-800-RED-CROSS. File a claim with us. That's your backup plan. That's also so that we're aware of the area. So you may call and maybe your neighbor doesn't, but that brings attention to your entire area so that we can come out and do damage assessment. Well, that opens up for individual assistance, for rental assistance, helping you to take care of the things that maybe FEMA does not cover. It also helps those of you who do not have your deductibles. So a lot of that with Red Cross donations is what that money goes for. So every designated dollar that's donated for Hurricane Milton has to be spent on Hurricane Milton. So what happens in that case is it starts out with individual assistance, and depending on the amount of funds that are raised, it goes into long-term recovery, such as what we did with Ian, where there are grants that are offered into the community for people who register for different things like fence repairs, small things that maybe you just didn't get done through your insurance. So it's very important that you register with the Red Cross so that we have your name on record, so that when these programs roll out gradually over the next 18 months, you'll actually have access to it. So it's very important that everybody tries to get the word out to file 1-800-RED-CROSS so that we can get your name and your information in there. Are there any questions in regards to Red Cross services?
For the homeowners in the neighborhoods, like you said, we're filing a complaint and we're letting, maybe it's not us, but our neighbors. How would you let the neighbors know that if you came by or, so, because some of them may not be home. So how can we make sure that those neighbors who do need this assistance know that you're trying to reach out to them if a neighbor like myself, I call and file a claim for the other neighbors that need these?
Once you file it for your particular address, what happens then is we are now going to send out a team that's going to come through your entire street that will actually look at homes that have what we consider what FEMA's classifications are for minor, major, and destroyed. So once they actually trigger that, we can actually come back as a follow-up to actually verify that information. We either will come before FEMA or we'll come after FEMA. But 9 times out of 10, you want to make sure that you get your house assessed so that you can actually qualify. Because what's going on a lot of places right now, people are actually going ahead and ripping stuff out and you're not getting pictures. And that's the thing that hurts a lot of people when you're trying to prove your case later on when you're denied. You've got to take pictures. And one of the things that I've been telling a lot of people is this hurricane was just kind of a warm up, as we say. The real one, again, can come anytime. So one of the things that helps for preparedness, and I tell everyone, take pictures. The key to taking those pictures are take the full room so that they can see what all you have in each room of your home. Then you go to your electronics. If you have a television, the front of the TV is great, but what gets you the value is on the back, where you have the plate that has the serial number and the model number. That tells them what year model your TV is, and that's how they get the values. Also, if you have any, as I call them, memorabilia, take pictures of that stuff. If it's authenticated with your insurance company, great. If it's not, then you want to try to get some sort of documentation showing what year and what it is. So those are the things that are very important. And we tell people to get kits, your hurricane preparedness kit. That's where you actually take those family photos that you love, make a copy of them, keep your original, and maybe just frame your copy. That way you're able to preserve the things that's very valuable to you and sentimental. So those are some of the main things that I try to teach and ask people to do so that we can make sure that everybody still holds on to the things that matter. Because the other stuff we'll have to go through with insurance, FEMA, and all of that. So the biggest thing for you guys to focus on is making sure you file your claims with FEMA.gov and also calling and filing a claim with redcross.org. And if anyone's interested, I'm always looking right now for a representative in this area. We are always looking for an ambassador who lives in the community, because you would be the voice that would be able to let me know that what areas in your community are affected. So we have that opening as well, and it's a volunteer role, which basically you would just be the ambassador for your community.
You got no assistance from
we flooded during Ian, destroyed the home, got no assistance, so we've been trying to rebuild it on two-teacher income. The house has not been completed, so obviously we can't get insurance. We have force-placed insurance through the mortgage company. Do we still get assistance from Red Cross, even though we don't have homeowners policy, so to speak?
Actually, Red Cross, we don't look at whether you have insurance or any other situation. Our job is to help anyone who is in a position of need. So you file your claim with the American Red Cross, and then we will look at where your home is, whether it's classified major, minor, or destroyed, and at that point, then assistance will be provided to you based on an individual basis. Any more questions?
Hold on, Jeff, they're doing these.
You know, when it comes to, as you say, the classification under FEMA, whether it's damaged, destroyed, that determines what kind of funding people will get from the government. A PDA, preliminary damage assessment needs to be done, I think, first by the municipality, sent to FEMA, and then FEMA comes here and does a PDA with the city. Has that been done? Do we have a rating?
Actually, PDA is actually being done with Red Cross. We are actually right now, if you go on our website, they actually do have people that are coming in the area, so you will gradually start seeing it.
But that doesn't have any effect for people that want to approach FEMA for recovery.
Yes, it does.
The same inspections.
Yes, we have the linkage and the approval to be able to process and send our information over to the FEMA workers.
I don't need a microphone up there. So, besides pictures, can we also do a video?
Yes, ma'am. The only thing is with the limitations on the timeline on your texting, a lot of times FEMA or somebody may want you to text it to them or attach it to an email, and then there's limitations on the side. So just make sure that it's literally, if you're gonna do it, just literally do a smooth screen and make sure it's only a small snippet each time for each room. That will help make sure that you're able to send it and connect it to your emails.
I have a question on Facebook from Ms. Terry Ellis. Do they pay for mold damage?
Red Cross does not necessarily specify for mold damage. We do give inside of those kits some disinfectant that does work toward mold. But what happens when you call and get an individual case with Red Cross, it actually is your individual case. We work with individual families. So when you call, we work with you as an individual, look at your situation, and then we try to see what we can do to meet your needs and help your family individually. And that goes across the board. Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much, and if you think of something else or you have questions and things, feel free to reach out to myself or Commissioner McCool. We are definitely working together with our local government to try to make sure we make our communities back home. So if there's anything we can do, and again, I am so sorry for everyone's loss because I know that it is very tragic and impactful. And one of the things that we found is this was not, as they call major on our end, it was the entire region. So it's across. And there are people who are still underwater, even here. I drove today down in Astor and areas like that where literally water is still on the road and they can't really get out. So we're just gonna lift everyone up in prayer and we're gonna pray for the best and we're gonna try to work together to make this community back to where it should be.
You're saying that they can reach out to you specifically,
Yes. I'm the actual executive director for this region. So it's very important to me that everyone feels like I'm accessible to them. So if you call me or text me, Commissioner McCool can attest to that, I will respond. My direct number is.
And I'm gonna write it up here.
Yes, 386-209-2659. And to file your actual individual case is 1-800-RED-CROSS. And once you call that number, sometimes it may be backed up. Don't stop because they can't see once you're in the queue, but you still have to call back to make sure that you get a caseworker because it's important that you get a case number because that's our tracking number for you. And that's also the way you can give me that tracking number and I can call to find out where you are and make sure that somebody is definitely reaching back out to you.
What are the hours of the facility where people can go get these kits?
9 to 3, Monday through Friday. And one of the main things that is important with that is if you know of somebody who needs additional kits, once you let Commissioner McCool know the neighborhood or the streets, we can try to make arrangements to have some more delivered in the area if we don't have enough at the church.
Thank you so much. And she is not kidding. She is on time every time. Yes, Commissioner?
Can you repeat again where is the this community church? She's got the address.
Yeah, I have it. I'll write it up here on the board. Latanya, I have it. I'll write it up here on the board as we move along here. But we can get them for your neighbor. You can pick them up for your neighbor if your neighbors need assistance. If it's someone that is disabled, if there's someone that has a hard time, elderly or otherwise challenged, we have plenty of community volunteers that will get that out there for them. And so I have this contact information. I'll make sure that it's on this board so you can take a snapshot of this. And these are really important things here, especially document. Please document everything. If you know of somebody that is in a health challenge situation, just let me know. We'll get the decon kits. Commissioner Harriet has a great truck. He's delivers. Brandy's got a truck. I have a truck. I mean, we have people that will help deliver out here. So I'm going to get back to this, but we also, something that's going on also with construction, scams or whatever, we have a representative from Volusia County here with some information that's going to come up and talk about that just for a brief moment. I'm going to talk about the blue tarps, and then we're going to get into what we were talking about the other night so we can continue talking about that. Yes, Davidson.
If anybody needs an additional kit locally, I've got some here at my house.
Okay.
I've got a couple left over, so they can just reach out to me and I can get them to them.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're recording.
That's fine, I'm loud. Hi guys, I'm Detective Hinkson. I work for the Volusia Sheriff's Office in the Financial Crime Unit. It's a newly formed unit at the Sheriff's Office. It's me, just me, another part-time, and then Sergeant Almazi. We do the entire county, so I have financial crimes for the whole county. Clearly, a storm has hit, so people are at need, and scammers come out when these things happen. So they are trying to scam you in every way possible at your lowest point of whatever happened. So I was able to get some pamphlets from the Department of Financial Services. They're called DIFs. Their office is out of Orlando. They specialize in insurance fraud, scams, you name it, they specialize in it, and they actually have people on the ground in the community all over the place. When I called Captain John Savino, he had 7 people in this local area going door to door. So the only thing we're hearing right now are people who are coming around trying to remove trees, and they have fake FEMA badges. What they're doing is they're showing their FEMA badge and they're trying to tell them that they work for FEMA, they'll remove the tree, then they catch the people removing the trees and taking them across the street and dumping it, and they're paying them in cash. So that's a red flag. Not good. So on these pamphlets here, it says notify law enforcement. It gives you it gives you the information on here of who to call to contact DIFs, and they'll come right out. On top of DIFs, I will come out, right? So just because I'm telling you to contact DIFs, Department of Financial Services, I will still come out and investigate it, talk to that person, find out if they're legitimate, find out what's going on and why they're going door to door. Nobody should go door to door to contract you for anything that has to do with your house from the flood, for trees, anything. It should not happen. So if they do that, please call us, call the sheriff's office. We will come out, we will contact them, we will find out if they're licensed, why they're in the area, what they're doing, because as Sheriff Schick will tell you, they're not there to do that, they're there to do something else, as in burglarize your home, scam you, steal whatever they can steal. It's just what they do. Let's see. So one of the other things that I see a lot right now with the financial crimes, like something that's on the up and up, is when people hire unlicensed contractors and then they request essentially all the money up front. So they say, hey, I will come do this job for you, but in order to do the job, I need $5,000 so I can go buy the supplies. That's an automatic, complete red flag. Do not do it, but people fall for it every day. They want the money because as soon as they get the money, they know the law. They're going to do a little tiny bit of work and they're going to take off and go. It's illegal. I will arrest them, I will fine them. However, I try to tell everybody it's a red flag, just don't do it. If somebody comes to you and says, I'll do this, but I need the money up front, not happening, don't do it. That's kind of really all that's going on right now with that. The FEMA thing was big, it just happened. Door-to-door and robocalls, you're going to get a lot of calls too. You're getting a lot of fake calls from people claiming to be FEMA or claiming to be disaster relief and all kinds of stuff to donate money. Don't answer the phone or hang up. That's the best thing I can tell you. That's the easiest way to do it. It's very simple. People will still fall for it, but read all documents. So if you get a contract, make sure you read that contract because that contract could be fake. So make sure whatever you get as a contract, if you get somebody to do a job for you and you have a contract, make sure you read it. You can actually call DIFs and they will go over the contract with you to make sure it's legitimate. They actually list on here, you can verify the contractor's license. They give you the Department of Business Professional Regulation. They give you the number on here to call to make sure they actually are licensed and insured. And you can, right here, there's a number down here for the insurance. So you gotta make sure they are a licensed contractor. It can't just be my neighbor's son who knows how to do drywall that came in here to do it. It's just not good, so don't do it. That's really all I have. So if you have any questions or have any concerns or somebody's in your neighborhood going door to door, the fake FEMA badge, anything that has to do with that, just call the sheriff's office. We will come out. I don't know if I'll come out right away, but I will get it because I do the financial crimes. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions? It's kind of brief. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I have one thing that if you're calling a contractor, sometimes they do I do construction.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm special ordering stuff, I do require a deposit.
Yeah.
But you can also verify that we've been in business and we're local for a really long time. So
Correct.
I think that's kind of the
that's the barrier. If you can prove that you've been in this a long time, you've been around the area, you say, yeah, this is my business, this is who I am. You can show your LLC and stuff. That's different. It's not just
here in Deltona, right? In the city, they require full permits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can show that stuff, you know.
Off your house, so
yeah.
That's one thing the city does pretty well.
Yeah, it's not just some guy from, I don't know, I'll just make it up, Deleon Springs that came along and he's, you know, hey, can I fix your roof? And they come, you know what I mean? It's not just that. You can back up what you have. It's, you know, and so.
And sunbiz.org. You can verify businesses on sunbiz.org.
You can, but.
The governor's website, Board of Contractors website.
Yeah, but Sunbiz doesn't always work either. So there's fraud on Sunbiz. Yeah.
Board of Contractors.
Yeah.
Just to add also what you were saying about people asking for donations, you will never get a phone call from Red Cross or anyone else asking you to give a donation. Majority of the people who ask for donations are generally, like you said, fraud. So what you want to do is, if you ever want to donate,
You go to the website of the organization, and usually you can do /donate, and then you will be able to donate dollars to that organization. Or you'll see in telethons, they'll give you a texting number where you can actually donate. So if someone calls you up on the phone and says they need your credit card number and they want to charge you or to make a donation, don't do it.
I just want to give you an example. The day after the hurricane, I was driving down Tivoli and saw this huge oak tree from one house crossing on the other side of the street. I parked in front of the house and the guy just ran over to me gave me a card and said, we could take care of this tree for you. Here's my card. What do you want me to spell? And I was like, well, it's in the road and the city will take care of it. And they're like, no, they won't. Don't believe that. I said, I know, I'm a commissioner. And when I turned around, the guy was gone. I mean, he'd disappear in a minute. So this is things also that they'll come at you without you even realizing it. They're so fast at what they do best, you know, which is scam people, that you have to be careful.
Sometimes they're not even from here. They'll come from other states because they know we got hit so hard. So all these tree guys are coming from other states to come do this. You have power companies, you have everything. All these people are here to do all these jobs, and they know that if they're a tree guy and they come here and they cut this tree and they scam you, that they're gone. They're going to go to their home state. So, you know, what are we going to do? So yeah, you really, roofers, yeah. So you really got to watch. You really got to just protect yourself. So it's hard because it's verbal judo, right? They get you in this mindset that you need it done right now. They want the cash right now. They want to get it done. And they talk you into it, and your mind starts going, "Man, that's a good price. Maybe I should just do it. Yeah, whatever, I'll do it." And then you realize you got scammed. Super nervous. Yeah. So you just got to kind of calm down and think about what you're doing and go from there. So, any other questions?
When in doubt, call Chipwood.
When in doubt, call Chipwood, and then Chipwood will call me. So, yeah, yep, and we'll come out and we'll take care of business. So, yep. I could talk about other scams too, but I'll let it go. The phone scams are going to start going on the rise, so everybody knows the holidays are coming. We will not call you and ask you for money. We're not going to ask you for gift cards. We're not going to ask you to donate to the sheriff to become sheriff again. It's not going to happen. So if you get a call, just hang up.
We're lucky right now, we'll call the police and politicians.
Those are fake too. So just there's, I mean, it's yeah. So just save your money. Just do your thing. Just hang up the phone. So I can go on probably for hours and tell you about the cases I have right now involving that. So that's why my phone's blown up. Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you,
guys.
Detective, so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to, just so that you know, anything that we give out tonight will be available at City Hall. On the first floor as you walk into the reception area, we will have these pamphlets available, and I will ask also some be placed at the public library as well. Okay, so we will have all of this information available. If there's something that you've seen that you've not gotten, let me know. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a hotline on the back. The number is on the back right here, the Department of Financial Services. That hotline number is a good one. Our local office is in Orlando, and I know the captain very well, and they will come out here and respond. So, and then if you call them and say Eric sent you or Eric told you, give you the pamphlets, they'll know, and then I'll come help in whatever you guys need. So.
Yeah, thank you. Of course.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. We're going to move on next to, again, that information will be available at City Hall. You can also email or call me. I think everybody pretty much has my phone number. If you don't, I'll give it to you. Also, thank you very much. Also here, we have Ms. Dot Bradley. She is with New Hope Human Services and Church. And I will tell you, if you do not know Pastor Bradley and Ms. Dot, when the chips are down, this is who we go to. They've been in our community. They are Noah's cousins or something. That they have been so long in this community, but this is who we go to when we have residents that need help with rent, light bills, when we have residents that have food insecurity. And so I just wanted you guys to meet her if you have not. They are staples of the community. So Ms. Dodd, is there anything that you would like to? Thank you. It's really important because everybody has neighbors that have food insecurity or something right now. And what the government doesn't cover, we call on Ms. Dot and Pastor Bradley for. So go ahead.
As she said, I'm Dot Bradley from New Hope. And we are presently getting ready to have on the second, what we call our annual Hope Fest, where we give thanks by giving back to the community. Everything is free. We're giving away clothes. Perhaps somebody's clothes got messed up. There's going to be clothes there from baby. We've got Pampers. Might have some baby food. Not sure. I have to do an inventory on that. But we got a lot of dried, non-perishable items that we're going to be giving away at the Hope Fest. As a matter of fact, there will be various agencies there. Legal services will be there. I know I saw her. She's standing behind me. That's Volusia Alliance Recovery will be there. Some of the doctors' units will be there. There will also be information for veterans who might have some need or questions they need to ask, and there's a person who will be on site in regards to their assistance. That's their specialty, not mine. All right? So that's why we pull in all these individuals to come at one location in order for our neighbors, our people that we're trying to help, our residents, they can come and find out what they need to assist them in some way. If I don't have the answer, there's somebody definitely there on the grounds that should have an answer for them. As a matter of fact, when we were saying something about scams, today we got a phone call said, hey, we're from Texas and we're volunteers and we need food. I said, okay, what do you need? We need a couple of cases of water. We need some canned goods. And I was saying, volunteers? I thought they were going to ask for hot food or hot meals. And then we started asking, where are you from in Texas? Oh, we're from Texas. Never gave a city, never gave a county. We said, okay, so you come by. You never showed up. So that's very, very real, that they are out there and they're trying to get whatever they can from our residents. And they don't need to have it. It's for those who are in need here in Deltona.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dot. And certainly, last but not least here, I'm going to introduce you to Karen Chopert because these are stressful times. Karen is with Volusia Recovery Alliance here, and in times of instability like this, a lot of people turn. We have mental illness. We have people are highly anxious right now, and I understand that. And if you have a family member, or if you know somebody, if you yourself have problems, I'm going to have Karen talk for just a moment regarding where you're going to be able to find help if you need help, or if someone you know and loves needs help, and God forbid overdoses. So I just wanted her to come and talk about that for a moment. At least you can take this resource out into your community. It's really, really important. Ms. Karen.
Thank you so much. So I'm Karen Trebeck. I am the Executive Director of Volusia Recovery Alliance. We are in place to help people and families get the help they need to get into recovery. We like to say that we're all about saving lives and healing families. And so we do have our phone number is 386-777-7337. We do have free Narcan. I have some Narcan with me tonight. I'll do a quick training if you want some. It's free. We do answer the phone. We have a lot of connections to resources that are free. All of our services are free. You can talk to somebody if you just want to talk. You can call our number. We have a very vibrant Facebook page where we have a lot of what we call mutual support meetings at our Hope Hub in Ormond Beach. We also have a part-time office at the Neighborhood Center in DeLand, and we will be doing more and more outreach to this side of the county because we got a SAMHSA grant, and so we're going to be able to do some programming out here, especially for dads, because dads are often underserved. So please don't hesitate to call us. And we're at New Hope Baptist Church the third Wednesday of the month. During their food pantry, we give out Narcan and resources. We do have a bilingual peer that works for us. And so, we're so proud of our partnership with New Hope Baptist Church. It's really served us well, and we're here to help. So please don't hesitate to call us. Please take some Narcan, take some materials, and just know that we're here to help. Okay. And especially if you know a first responder that needs our help, we have a whole program for them that we're really there helping them. We're going to be part of the Gobble walk. But truly, first responders, we can help them with food insecurity as well and a lot of different things. So please call us. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Karen. Appreciate it. Thank you for always being here for our community. All right, yes, Rose? Yeah, you can go, Ms. Rose. Go ahead. All right, guys, listen, we're going to jump in now because I think that the thing most on everyone's mind is flooding. And so I want to approach this here. I want you to know that I am listening. I want you to know that your commission is listening and your city is listening. And I think that we are at a critical mass point here in our city where everything and everyone is so raw that we really can make a difference here. Jeff, I joke about it all the time, that you and I have jumped up and down. You and I were jumping up and down about a particular development before I was elected. We were not listened to, and we have consequences from that. And I have
They've gone on and done it more times.
and I have heard, even after that, as I've been involved for 4 years, things that transpired, and that's going to be taken up. But what I want to do here is I want our community to know. I wanted to look you in the face and let you know that our commission hears you, that we are very motivated to sit down one-on-one and listen to these suggestions and hear what you're saying, because I feel your frustration. I don't only hear it, I see it, and I'm with it. Ms. Mel, I am passionately with you. You know, from the other night, I am passionately with you on your stance. You have a lot of historical knowledge here. You've been here. You have great ideas, and we need to do this together. It's not a one-person operation here. I met the two of you the other night, and getting involved is so paramount. We have three people in here, 4 really, but what I'm saying is that are been sitting their hind end in seats for years, right, and getting involved and helping change conversation and narrative, and it's just really important to get involved, so I appreciate each and every one of you, right? So now I would like to hear from you. I'm writing on this, and I'm telling you right now, I'm writing on this board what your concerns are. I'm putting myself as responsible for getting answers for you, whether it be from the state, whether it be from federal, whether it be from county, whether it be from St. John's River, to get them answered. The onus is on me for questions that are answered tonight. I am not counting on anyone other than me that will report back to you unless it is collaboratively, and I can look each one of you in the eye and say that is what I am trying to do this evening, because I felt your frustration the other night. I have visited your homes several times, whether you're in my district or not, because I feel for this situation. So the amount of us that are in here, I just really want to hear from you. I need 3 points from you to take back, to ask, what are we doing about this? So I don't care who we start with, you raise your hand. I want your 3 burning questions, I want your concerns, and I want to be able to take these back to whomever the appropriate person is. And I'll tell you that we have our county rep, David Santiago here, that has really good working relationship with the rest of the county commissioners. I'm sure that he will help us also take back or give us information for what he knows for what the county's doing. So collaboratively, Deltona has traditionally had this, what is viewed as an on-again, off-again love relationship with the county. But I believe that our relationship with the county right now is really good. And I know that myself, I've worked hard over the last 4 years to forge those relationships. You know what I mean? So that we collaboratively get stuff done. So in no particular order, Ms. Doreen, do you want to say anything? You're in the back. I need 3 things from you, if you want, or you can just listen.
Well, the only thing that really upsets me, they knew about my area 2 years ago after Ian, and nothing, not a damn thing, my mom was done.
Okay.
And I still blame the development up on Hampton Oaks. Yeah.
No doubt.
We were fortunate here, it never flooded this time.
I know. And we had a lot more, 40% more.
All right, I'm just writing this down, guys. Understand this, okay? We have like an hour and a half in here. I mean, I'll stay individually with whomever wants to, but I'm just going to move down. I want 3 things, you know what I mean, and then we can go into them, because I know that we have a lot to cover, but I'm just trying to get it done. Mr. Mel, do you want to go next?
Yes, ma'am. I've emailed everybody, from the governor to our state representatives, and this afternoon I got a response from one of our representatives. I'm going to read you a paragraph from it. As of last week, the city of Deltona informed our office that they did not need us to acquire more help from our offices. the city feels that they have all the resources that they need, and we cannot force them to take any more.
Where's that from?
This is from Webster, Marty's office.
Okay.
Great. I've sent this over to Davidson. He and I talked about it this afternoon. And of course, we're sitting here and we're saying, okay, so if our state representatives are being told by our city elected servants that we don't need any more help, something's not right.
Well, Mr. Mel, I would like this.
Did
What?
Barney say where that came from?
It came from his assistant, Gray.
No. What I'm asking, right, is that I don't want the straw man. I want the actual person that told him that.
Yeah, amen.
I want the actual person that told him that.
And I understand that, and Davidson has asked for me to send him the email, and I'm sure he's gonna get to that too. But I'm sitting here saying, okay, so the state says this, and we're also being held prisoner by the St. John River Water Management because our levy, whatever you wanna call it, the big ditch or the big problem or whatever, was funded by Governor Bush with a grant to us to build the cotton-picking thing, and we did, but we don't have control of it. And so we're being held captive. And the problem that we have is that, from my understanding, hurricane season begins June the 1st and ends November the 3rd. Can we not petition? I know 2 years ago, I was on everybody in Palatka, and I downloaded maps and documents, legal stuff, and all that kind of stuff. I threw it away months ago, but I said, oh, we're not having a problem with you. That's another mistake I made in my life. But anyway, they won't do anything unless we as a city petition them, and they can only be petitioned for it to be open for 9 days. And it has to be done continually. And I know y'all have gone through this in a legal battle, but I'm telling you right now that I think the city of Deltona ought to revisit that, and we ought to take control of it. Not the fact that it has to be open at full volume all the time, but that we can control it. So that means when we're not in rainy season or we're not having any issues with storms or hurricanes, it can be at the lowest level. But then when we're faced with the possibility from June 1st to the end of November, that we have control over it so that we can reduce the volume of water in all of the lakes, all of them to a level that we're happy with, but would accommodate everything that he has to deal with only 6 months, okay? Which is another issue, because all that stuff coming into his lake, coming into my lake, will be fine. It's coming from the cities of the land,
Lake Helen,
and Lake Helen, and Casadega, and Orange City. Well, why in the world can't you get an injunction against them and say, sorry guys, we love you, but not this much?
Mr. Mel, I want to let you know that at the end of Monday night's meeting, we did get consensus from the full body of the commission to revisit that lawsuit immediately. And I know that city manager is already working on that.
With St. John River?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We addressed that at the end of the meeting.
But who ultimately controls the gate?
Yes.
Who's the ones that?
St. John.
The Army Corps controls when the gate goes up, down, how much. St. John's, FEMA reps, they requested. That's what that whole thing was with parking. That's what I wanted to let these people know. Army Corps is ultimately responsible.
Well,
the people that need repairs on their home, 100% that they do it right.
Well, the St. John River Water Management is who we have to petition.
I know that.
And that petition has to go out far enough in advance for them to make a decision. And then it's only for 90 days. And our Public Works Department, by the way, does a great job of doing that. Whoever handles that paperwork, Phyllis Wallace and all of them up there, you know, but it has to be something that they understand we've got a problem. Now, we know what the problem is, but right now we're looking for some kind of a solution. And it doesn't have to be long term. Just give us some relief.
And can I say this, Mr. Mel? What my request today with the city manager is that because I invited St. John's here, they accepted, and it was decided that the city would speak for them. But may I tell you that today I requested formally that we have a meeting, okay, with St. John's, with county, with city, because here's what's happening. Go ask Mom. Go ask Dad. Go ask Mom. Go ask
So
Dad.
Diana, who
And this
is
is
the,
what-
who is the city representative that's speaking for St. John's Wort?
That there's no one, because here's the thing, this is what we're doing here. Go ask Mom, go ask Dad. And that's why I asked for everybody to be in the room, because when you do that, the information that's put forth can be refuted on spot and dialogue can continue. But when you don't have parties sitting their hind end in a seat, this is what happens. You get a piece of information, right? And you're intelligent people, and it is a game of bureaucracy and ping pong. And I just requested that we get everybody in the room, because we cannot flood again in the manner that we have. Everybody is so exhausted from that. So, Mr. Mel, with that.
Well, 2 years ago, guess who they blamed? Us. All the money fell back on the city of Deltona, well, they didn't petition us in a timely manner for us to be able to open this, okay? And it was a constant blame game. My problem, it's not necessarily a problem, like I told you Monday night, I've been here since 1974, and I own 30 acres, been blessed with 30 acres on Lake DuPont, and 23 of it is all underwater. After Ian, that was the very first time I ever had any water on my pasture, 23 acres, never a drop. Like I mentioned, through the 8 storms in 2004 and 05, not a drop of rain. Okay, I had wind damage, but I can deal with that. But what I can't deal with is rising water, which is still happening on my property. Now, after Ian, I didn't get any kind of relief to be able to do any repairs or rebuilding until March and April of 223, because I couldn't get in the barn because I still had 2 feet of water in it because it was so slow for it to be drained out of DuPont. And the problem with DuPont being the largest lake is the only outlet is at the CVS and the ballpark up there, and it's as big as a McDonald's plastic straw, okay, that goes into Lake Angela, and there's no place for it to go in Angela. And it's an issue. Now, I've been told that it has been said that y'all could get 75 pumps, and you could daisy chain. It would help, but it wouldn't make everything go down immediately, but it would help. And those pumps, my understanding, Davidson, would come from the state. Is that correct?
The conversation we had was that wouldn't make hardly any difference.
Well,
I
don't care if it's an inch, because I've still got 3 or 4 inches of water in my barn. And I'm running 2 sump pumps 24 hours a day. and sometimes it'll go down, and I say, praise the Lord, my prayers have been answered, and I go back the next morning and I've got 4 inches back in it because of water coming in, God bless them, from 3 island lakes or 6 lakes, which is coming in from other places up there. Something's got to stop immediately for it to coming through. If it can't go through the culvert there at the CVS on Elkham Boulevard and go into Angela, and then leave Angela to go in Teresa, and then farther down the chain of lakes, am I going to have to wait until March and April of next year for me to do any repairs, just like this gentleman, Joel, here on his home? We can't wait that long. We honestly cannot wait.
And Mr. Mel, that was part of my frustration in asking for everybody to have their hind end in a seat at the same place at the same time, right? Because I can sit here and this is what I do. I take my paper and scream loud and jump up and down. First of all, I'm disturbed really badly by that first statement right there, that you were informed that the city didn't ask for help, because that's quite contrary to what conversations I've had. So
I can tell you that the city did ask for help, and they did get help from the county and from the state. And we had talked about this afternoon. Right. So that's why I'd asked for a copy of the email, because I do know that the city received resource assistance from the county and the state.
Yeah, and that's.
But if they're saying they've told us they don't need any more, okay, and we're not going to do anything because we can't force them to take any of the resources, That's what bothers me.
Well,
He's closed the door. Somebody's closed the
And you
door.
mentioned 75 pumps, you told what you like.
Well, and
So I mean, we need 75 pumps, they won't do anything. You know, I understand what the issue is here, Lady Dana knows, I know there's stormwater problems in this town. You know, the problem that we have, unlike you, with the lakes rising, natural waterways, is retention.
Yes.
It's retention, it's miscalculated, we don't have enough retention to move a category 1 storm blew by. Charlie was a lot worse, he didn't get flooded. This is incredible, and the problem exists with McCool. You know, St. John's Water Management approving ICI developers, say, hey, this is enough. We calculated a 25-year, 4-hour duration. Really? It should be 100 years, 24. That's the problem. That's the problem. We have limited resources.
And the engineering, I'm gonna say, you may think you have some great guys, but tell me how much water is in the retention area that sits in front of the city hall right now? 0.
I have 7 feet still in my backyard.
Yeah.
Right, can we take it
Lake
to
Fort
the,
Smith, yeah.
can we, the city hall? Can we take the city hall?
3 Islands Lake, like I said. Dana, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the presentation at yesterday's meeting from David Hamstra at Pegasus Engineering, the end of his presentation, he addressed pumps specifically. So I would just implore everybody to go back and listen to his presentation and see what he says as an engineer that has run the calculations that can tell you the volume that, you know, it would actually be moved with these pumps.
Again, listen, I can't strongly enough recommend everybody sitting in a room together, because you have 3 different engineers with 3 different subjective opinions regarding how much rain falls over, how much surface, and what the absorption time is and rate is of that. And you need a lot of smart people sitting down, and that's why I want everybody in the room. That's why I've asked for everybody in the room. You know what that is? That's accountability, and then you can't have straw men making an argument that the city said that they no longer need help. That blows my mind, because that's no one that I know. So that is my big ask. Please know that, and that's what I've asked for. Go ahead.
But David told us Monday night, for 17 years, go back and listen to the recording. For 17 years, this city has done nothing to address this problem. And it only came to light again after basically, I guess,
We had work, yes.
with Ian. So for 17 years, and
We were dry. It was not a priority on anyone's mind, right, for as long as it was dry. We had the hurricanes before, we don't move through. Right. So here's what I'm going to move. I'm going to go to our county rep David, can you speak to this?
Yeah, that's a thing. Thanks, Dan. I just
want to cover a couple of things that were mentioned. So, understand that emergency process through the state, the way that works is that someone at the Deltona, whoever the emergency management for Deltona, contacts the county EOC. And within the county EOC, we have representatives from the state, and they put in a special request, and I'm trying to remember the acronym, so I apologize, but there's a special state request for local resources. And then the state will determine whether or not they send those resources. I'll give you an example. I was at Florida Hospital when it became an island. It was Florida Hospital Island, and the flooding was happening there. I was there when all the folks were there. Our director of public works arrived, city manager of Orange City, and others were there. And they asked at that point, we need to initiate the request. At that point, it was called. The next day, and followed that process. The next day, they needed five 8-inch pumps arrived at the hospital to employ and make that transition. So there is a process in place. I don't know who made it, but that's the process, just so you know. I'll address one other thing. Somebody said about a 120.
75 loan.
Yeah. I'm just giving you an example of what happened there and how the process works. And then I'll talk about the 1 in 25. Currently, and I think, as Dana said, it needs to be looked at, how we're developing and holding these patterns on how we hold water retention. But currently, today, the way that 1 in 25 works, and I'll talk about the county, the city probably has a similar one. Depending on where you're going to build, based on the basin that you're designated in, they have basin areas. It requires how you need to design your retention. So if you're in a basin that doesn't require, that just requires the minimum, which is 1 in 25, certain areas require a 1 in 100. So if you want to develop in one of those areas, you will be held to that standard. So, and that's something I agree that we need to look at whether, if that works. So that's today's process. Again, not defending it, but I want everybody to understand what the process is.
And the city, I will tell you this, our new city planner, building director has addressed that in our new ordinances and our land development codes, yes.
It's already been talked
And it's
about.
already been, yes, we're there.
Just to ask a question, you're talking about 25-year duration, right?
Okay?
We don't need regulations. Deltona can set regulations above what already exists by the federal government, FEMA, and the Army Corps. You know, if you're adjacent to a Zone A, which is a 100-year floodplain, which is Lake Fort Smith, okay? The city allowed the engineers to dump all the water from that subdivision into flood zone A. So what we've done now is we created a 100-year floodplain that runs through her living room, okay? This was not calculated correctly, and it was approved by state and federal people that control regulation. You don't want to point fingers, they're wrong. They've been proven wrong, it's gone all the way to the Supreme Court. This is what our citizens that are flooded need to do now. Forget what the city's telling, oh, we'll do this, we'll have meetings, and we'll get 75 pumps. No, you made calculation errors. The city's not liable, it's the people that approved it. I didn't like what went on. You mentioned new planning and zoning. Planning and zoning voted 7-0 not to do this, not to approve the rezoning. And the commission went right along. Everybody knew what everybody needed. And they voted it in. The commission made a mistake. They didn't listen to the right people. We flooded with a moderate storm. Hey, if Hurricane Matthew had come in, Cat 5 into Daytona, forget it. Forget it. We'd all be sitting here with snorkels right now. This is incredibly wrong. This is illegal what was done in Camp Jones. Forget the one that we went to the ranch, you and I, back in the day. Beautiful place. Manicured by God, right? Right. And they built that subdivision down there in Portland. And they haven't put any houses yet, so I know there's something going on there. But the water dumps into Duda Ranch and then into the national wetlands. How in hell did that get approved?
So I want to correct you, dumps into the front of Osteen Elementary.
Yeah, we've changed
Ultimately, the contaminated water will make it back into the
I'm
national
just saying.
wetlands.
Yeah.
How did this get approved?
So, and here's the thing. I think that everyone sitting in this room is equally frustrated, including myself, right? Because some of the stuff was done before I was a commissioner, and it's frustrating knowing what my stance on development, and I'm not anti-development, that's a misnomer. I'm very responsible development, you know what I mean? So here's what I want to do. I want to move forward. I want to understand what the asks are. We beat up, Chris, go ahead, because you have been, and Brandy, then you. I want to understand what the asks are, because I want us to move forward. So, Chris, tell me, please.
My number one ask would be, how did the water leave the city in the first place? Why was there lawsuits? It left through the 60-inch pipe. So to say that we can't get all the water out of this city through that 60-inch pipe is not factual.
Let me ask you something. Has anyone offered you one-on-one sit-down with everybody, with the county, has anyone offered you that?
That has not been offered. I did have a sit down with Phyllis, Glenn, and Chisholm at one point. But that's the only sit down.
Here's what I'd like to do. I would like to offer you that sit down again to talk about solution.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's why I showed up. I thought St. John's was going to be here, and I had a couple questions.
Well, listen, and everybody does. And again, the ask was made. I had asked Jim on Monday. It was my understanding that someone would be here, and then I got a call yesterday, I believe, or yesterday. They're all ready to go. That they would refer back to the city.
So this leads into my question. My question is, ultimately, who is responsible for opening the drain? Or I guess I should say not opening the drain. I presented this as a problem during Ian. After Ian, I said that it should have been proactively opened. It was not. I addressed that it needed to be addressed, and the balls have been dropped for 2 years now. So it's somebody is responsible for not opening the drain.
There's someone responsible for the ask, and there is someone responsible for the okay. I know that the city asked, and I know that day of or day after or day before, I'm going to say within that 3 day of the storm, that the city did, from what I understand. Davison, that's what you understand?
Yeah, and Chris and I had a phone call the day after it was open.
Okay.
And he
They
started.
opened 30 minutes before the allotted time. It was actually done according to what I was told, because they knew that this was a problem. So they opened it 30 minutes before the actual time frame on the petition.
Is that what you're understanding? However, that is what St. John's finally responded and allowed.
Because they gave time. They gave time. They opened. And I was told it was because they knew the emergency, that our public works department approved it was actually done 30 minutes prior.
So my understanding and what I've
Talk, because they're doing this.
what I've been told by staff is that as soon as the governor signed the state of emergency, the gates were open, the control structure was open, and that was a few days ahead of the actual event. So, and we lowered the storm, and I don't quote me on numbers, but somewhere in the ballpark of like 4 feet, of course, but somewhere in the ballpark of like 4 feet of water was lowered from the basin ahead of the storm. So
I can verify that at my house, it did not change. There's pictures that can be posted on Facebook. I addressed, I believe it was September 9th or 6th. I addressed the issues. I said the city was going to flood our city again. And people thought that I was the town complainer. Crazy. I'm a lunatic. What do I know? And sure enough, here we sit again with water in my house. So ultimately, the drain, they've had 2 years to adjust the water level. And that was decided not to be done. I want to know, did St. John's say that the city couldn't open it? Did the city say we couldn't open it because of St. John's? Or did the city say we can't open it because of lawsuits? Ultimately, somebody did not open the drain over the last 2 years. And I want to know who's responsible for that, because ultimately that's who's responsible. The second thing I want to know is, as I've told everybody, I'm well versed in lake management and water management. And I've asked, why are liners not being required to be in these ponds in these new developments? If you apply a liner into a pond, the water does not leave unless it leaves through a pump. Most of the places out in Ocala are 300 feet above elevation of the water table. If they don't put liners in their ponds, they lose the ponds. So they have liners in their ponds. They take the water, they irrigate on site. A lot of the communities that recycle their water within the community have percolation fields. So they'll have an acre, 2 acres. That water is basically applied through sprinklers, allowed to dissipate and evaporate. So why are we not requiring the developers, not the residents, the developers, to basically fund that? That's not our fault. Why are the developers not being forced to fund that if they're going to come develop in our community? Not their community, they're coming in our community. So why are they not being forced to put liners in ponds, keep the water on premises, so that, like I said with Island Walk South, you don't have the ponds discharging the water into Lake Tiny into my house?
You know, most of the retention here, the coefficient of drainage depends on percolation. We don't want, in other words, they're not percolating their detention. It's going to percolate into the ground and disappear. The problem we have in Lake Fort Smith is, well, Blue Herring Memorial Park, we don't have enough area to do for detention. It has nothing to do with the floodgates. If you want to go, look it up tonight. Go to the Army Corps of Engineers. They call it taking, T-A-K-I-N-G. When they open and close the gates,
Hey, real quick, guys, I have someone else here, and I think that everybody knows this guy right here. We all have septic questions, issues as a result of flooding, and I just asked him to come, because he's been a part of the community and he's seen everything from A to Z. So, this is Mitch from Taylor Septic Service, and I would like you to speak if you can to help our residents understand what's going on, how long it might be before they can pump out, what you're doing. Sometimes you have to go multiple times. So can you give us some advice? Can you give our residents some advice, please?
Yeah, I know we're pumping some from the city over off of Fort Smith, I think.
Yeah, Monday, my house.
Yeah, and I know we did some other ones. I mean, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, I have property in Lake Helen that flooded, that has never flooded before, and that it finally just got back to normal. I mean, some of these, it could take several weeks. I mean, there's the Diamond venue.
Yeah.
We're pumping it out every day for them right now because it fills right back up overnight and just keeps overflowing. So, I mean, a lot of it depends on the percolation, and you know, a lot of people call in for pump outs, and we do, 30 something a day. That's the first thing we're asking. Like, until the water goes down, is out of the yard, there's nothing you can do. Because a lot of it, when you go back, when you pump it out, the water's just pouring back in. There's just nothing.
Do we have any areas where you found like contamination due to septic or sewer backup?
No, I mean, people's always talking about that. That's why the state right now, like, we're pretty much all new construction, and like up in DeLand and Glenwood areas required ATUs now. Like, I mean, I put hundreds of them in the last couple of years. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying by 2030. That's what everyone's going to have to.
And what is it?
ATU, that's an aerobic treatment unit. To where, like, you see some the new houses that have the 3 green lids in the yard. A lot of people don't like them, but
doesn't that discharge gray water?
Well, what it does, it takes all the nitrogen out of the water.
I understand, but it discharges gray water like into a culvert or something, or
no, you still have a drain field. You still have a regular drain field. It's just taking all the nitrogen. Because the whole deal, like, I've been doing septic for 21 years. And every year, it's always been the same thing. They're like, well, like every year when the algae bloom stuff down in Lake Okeechobee, there was their odds of septic.
Yeah.
But you can go to Lowe's and buy a pallet of fertilizer. It's got more nitrogen than anything.
Amen.
But yeah, well, I mean, when it floods a lot like this, I mean, it's just, there's, like mine, like our system at the property in Lake Helen, I mean, it's working fine. But there's a lot of people that, luckily, like a lot of them, within a week or two, a lot of them's going down. But I mean, a lot of people don't have, $300-400 to spend every couple of weeks to keep pumping the tank out.
How far does the water need to go down before we can request a pump to make sure you're not coming out?
That's another thing, because I sold about 12 tank replacements since the hurricane. I was at one yesterday, right over off Saxon and Falmouth, and every one of them had to do with water, like a lot of water coming down the road through these people's yards, and it caved the tanks in. I mean, there was one at the corner of all over in Waco, one there caved in, one on Falmouth caved in. I mean, every one of them, because of just the amount, and they were concrete tanks, good tanks. It's just when you get that much water flowing.
But how long after the waters have subsided before we can do that? Because like right now we have drain fields that look empty, and as you say, water's coming right back.
You got to wait at least till, like, if you're walking in the yard and it's still squishy and that, like, you're wasting your time. Because by pumping it, all a drain field does is hold water until the ground absorbs it. If there's that much water in the ground, then you're just, it's just not going to work. And I tell people, luckily, like from any homes from the early 90s to now have clean out caps in them, to where, if you, like first thing we tell people, you can look in the clean out. If it's starting to be empty and you're not seeing water standing in it, then pumping it, you'd be all right because the drain field's starting to work. But as long as there's water standing in that clean out cap, I mean, you're just wasting your money.
Yeah, that's the little black one. I had one.
Not the black one, that's the
white
filter.
The white one.
The white one. It's closer, like a foot or two off the house.
When it's 4 feet underwater, like her case.
Right. And there's scenarios too, like I remember back during Ian that a lot of people was like, well, you couldn't get hotels and everything else is booked, so like it's cheaper to pump the tank every couple of weeks than to move out of my house.
Yeah. Guys, if you have other questions regarding that, and I'll tell you this, I have asked also the city to approach this with the county and with the state, especially with us being so heavy septic as a public health thing, an issue, right? A public safety and health issue, so that perhaps we get some more assistance with that for our residents. Being that it would be a health issue, right, when these are saturated and overflowed. So I have asked our staff to look into that also. So, Brandon, yes, Mr. Miller. Yeah.
Davidson, you said that you were told that the water level came down 4 feet prior to the storm?
It was something in the ballpark of that.
What lake did they use as the benchmark? Are they still using Lake Doyle as the benchmark? Because if that's what the St. Johns River Water Authority is using, that's the smallest and the last lake in the entire chain. And that's the wrong place to be doing a benchmark. Now, you can tell me they're from Palatka, oh, it dropped 4 feet. Well, guess what? That's Lake Doyle. That is not Lake DuPont. It's not Lake Angie. It's not like a Three Island Lakes.
Or Lake Helen.
Right, or Lake Helen.
Right now, 26.4.
So something's got to give. Something's got to change.
That's a question that I
2
put
years
on here.
ago, and they said, oh, no, we're going to use Lake Doyle. Well, I can walk across Lake Doyle. It's fine. But I got to go look at it.
It's a wetland, not a lake.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's the best way to describe that.
They're flooding a wetland to create a lake.
Yeah.
I've treated wetlands. I know what a wetland is.
And then it goes into Lake Bethel, and they say, well, go to other Lake Bethel. Well, guess what? I fished that canal. You can't get a boat up into the Bethel Creek going up into the Bethel Lake.
I pulled gators out of it.
Right.
Brandy, go ahead.
I just got two for you before I have to go. I'd like you to consider looking into no longer using the 1 in 25 and 1 in 100 year sermon.
What we asked.
If we just look at this chart here, it's clear, especially based on the last few storms, we should at least be using the 500 year at minimum, because it's better to have more retention space than not enough retention space. So I would definitely really push at looking at the 500 year.
And the commission has asked, multiple commissioners, and I get this information, my colleagues have asked, right? But there are other colleagues that have already asked for that to start and pass that information on to our planning director, because it is no longer germane, especially after having the 2 storms that we had back to back like this. So I'm going to put this down here for benchmarking purposes, right? Because I will have all of these answered in a common area so that you can see accountability here. These are questions that I want to go back and answer so that we have accountability. Everybody is here. Everybody can see the answers to this. So no longer using the what?
1 in 25 or 1 in 100. I mean, even the 1 in 100 is only 11 inches of rain.
Yeah.
So clearly we need to be at a much higher standard than that.
And you look at the 500 year, Randy?
Well,
You've got to calculate the 500 year floodplain.
It's about 15,
You can't
16
build
inches.
there. You can't build there.
That's okay then.
And if you have a 100-year
Next.
floodplain, you have to use the 100-year 24-hour duration, not the 25-4-hour duration like
So
Hampton Oaks did.
my second one,
Yeah.
Dr. Wendy Anderson,
Yep.
Stetson.
Yep.
I met with her after 2022, right
Yep.
out on Kicklighter.
Yep.
We talked about Victoria Park and the drainage system and how it all comes down into Deltona.
Yep.
What we saw in 2022 was a very large velocity and volume of water coming from the Kicklighter area into Captain and over Captain and eventually into Three Islands. I asked specifically for 2 years now if anybody has reached out to her because she did the design for the drainage out there, and she had a lot of information, took some responsibility, and every time I've asked, nobody's reached out. So if we could reach out to her, she understands everything from the DeLand through the Lake Helen and into our part of Deltona.
Yeah.
And so I think she's got some vital information.
And I find that as well. I had her a couple times on my podcast for that very reason. She's very plugged in, so I got you. Mr. Bryant. Sir?
He's got nothing.
No, impossible. That does not calculate with me.
You know, I go back to what other commissioners have spoke about for the last couple of years, the fact that we need to show what maintenance we're doing year in, year out. See that maintenance schedule. Because, you know, as far as I can tell, we didn't do much for the last 2 years, maintenance-wise. And to try to get it all done within 3 days, that's an impossible task to ask. If you have something that shows the citizens that we went out, we cleaned these drains, we went out, we mowed these swales, we went out and we cleaned these ditches. We haven't seen that in 2.5 years. Even then, we had to ask for it.
No, a dashboard, I understand.
Now, the other thing I'm going to take and put out there is when we take and pay you $170 per year to take and actually do stormwater work, how do we know it's been done? We want to see the starting of it. We want to see 60 days. You know, I go 60 days, there's other people say 30 days. But at the end of the day, we want to see reports of how it's getting done, how much is getting done. Then, when it gets finished, what you accomplish. I haven't seen that in 27 years of being a city. Flat out, 27 years. I've never seen where you started, where you progressed it, and then told us we were finished with it. So, every time they say they get a project done, how do I know it's done? I didn't even know you started. Did I break it?
I'd like to piggyback on that. When I did lake and wetland management, on our forms, we had to document what our arrival time was, how many hours we spent on site. We had boxes that we would check for debris removal, physical removal. And what would happen is after these storms, we would go to all of our properties, and some of these property managers wanted to see reports proving that we were there and we removed debris, or we did physical removal of what did we do to the overflows, the weirs, the outfalls, we had to install cart barriers. Were we cleaning them? Can we prove that we had cleaned them? How long were we on site? What were we doing? That's why I've asked, what's the SOP prior to a hurricane? Where's the paper documentation showing that lift stations were inspected by we used initials by the person's initials. What time were they on site? What were the notes? Was it properly working? Was there any issues? Is there any outstanding work orders? I mean, it's simple paper trail stuff. You know, it's not about what happened, it's about what can you prove.
Thank you. And multiple offices I walk into, and if you turn your eyeballs to that office and look at that office directly ahead, did you document it? And I agree with every bit of that. Go ahead, Rose.
Along with that, I helped manage an office in construction, and it wasn't just simply documentation, but signing your name on it, pictures. I mean, it was right down from even something so stupid as I filled up the gas tank. How much did you fill it up? Who did it? What time did it? And I'm full on documentation for that one. So that holds everybody down the line, from the beginning of who signed off the work to who signed off that it was completed. The whole accountability for that one. So I completely agree with that one. I didn't agree with any questions, but I had additional questions too.
Hey, I'd like to piggyback.
The additional questions that I had is that we have from Fort Smith, you have gravity-fed water going down into that retention pond. And in 2022, it was gravity-fed that started flooding. It was after the hurricane, after the rains, after it was all stopped, and all of a sudden, I thought y'all were pumping water into a retention pond behind houses. I was calling because I was like, you're going to be flooding out these houses. So what about controlling from these natural bodies of water that are going into retention ponds that are supposed to, not flood out other houses? You've got developments where
they are not only with, like mentioning about the liners and the retention ponds, you've got higher elevation waters coming down to the water table, flooding into these into these actual bodies of water, natural ponds, that are then gravity feeding into retention ponds with pumps that are not large enough to handle the volume of water that is coming in. You've got a bucket coming out trying to with gallons of water that's coming in. So these, not HOAs, but these subdivisions, whomever it is, but the developers, they should be held accountable not only for the fact that they are creating this, but permits should not be allowed to pass. They should not be allowing people to be living in these subdivisions until these issues have been resolved. They should not just have a full-on stop, but it's, no, we're not allowing any more to be done. What you did is what you did. We can't stop that. But you're allowing more people to live in there. They're making money by selling these houses that they're still building, but they're not correcting the situation. We've got a larger pump, so instead of continuing on more of these impervious surfaces, you file a permit in Volusia County, you have to fill out a drainage affidavit that says that if you created a problem in your neighbor's yard, you gotta stop what you're doing. We're not allowing anything to pass until you fix this problem. And these subdivisions that are doing this, and like I said before, I'm not against development. I'm against the speed of this development. Is that we're not seeing the consequences, but good or bad. So what about the free-flowing water that's coming down from these natural bodies of lakes that are into retention ponds? How are we gonna control those so that way we don't have houses that should not have flooded as bad that flood?
What side of Fort Smith are you on?
She's on
Right behind, Yep.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
So you're right, Trisdale area.
Yeah.
That's the area too I mean, and we had major issues in this area way up top here. This didn't even happen coming down. This happened way up here with that little, my shortness tried to circle it there. Happened in the Elkham, Drysdale, Fort Smith area. So I want to, it's 7:30. So but what I want to do here, go ahead, Mel.
I want to bring up a touchy subject.
Sure.
The straw project.
Sure, go ahead.
Why in the world can't you have these developers do that exact same thing in these new developments? Because y'all did this down at the old community center right there on Lake Monroe with the intention of bringing in water from Lake Monroe to be reclaimed. Why in the world did you choose down there instead of like a Lake DuPont or a Lake Angela or a Lake Teresa that has a body of water that could easily be used for reclaiming? And then on new development, if we're going to allow it, make the developer do the exact same thing. Now I know what happened with the well, the spring there. And of course it cost us how much? $6.5 million, okay? Why can't we do something like that? And then on top of that, the Orlando area has 5 wells that go straight to the aquifer. And that's filtered water. And they control their level of lakes with those 5 wells. I'm told we have 1 at the end of Cortland and Riverhead.
Yeah, it's in the Riverhead area, Cortland, Elkham, that area.
But it's only 1. And yet we're a community of 445 miles of paved road and over 100,000 folks. Why can't we do more wells?
Mr. Mel, that's a fantastic question, and I will tell you it will continue dialogue. No. I'll tell you that I will tell you that I'm one of the commissioners in the photo digging my shovel in because at the time we had no, not so much. I supported this project because the presenter of this project at the time, our city manager, was also an engineer, and we had a lot of confidence in this project with the selection of the people that were doing this, and we had confidence at the time that our person was giving us good instruction, and everything that they laid out and everything that I know about engineering, which I don't know doesn't fit in the head of this Sharpie marker right here, but I had confidence in the human doing this, and there were a lot of things that happened in the commission of this project here, which we've had to jump through hoops. I will tell you that St. John's is doing things with us as far as the mitigation of that project right now, and it's in process, okay? So that is conversation that will continue on, okay? Yeah, exactly, different time. But what I want, guys, what I want to do is I want to, again, I've made the request and we'll follow up on the request with our county rep here, their county rep at large, their county body, period, along with the state and along with St. John's to get everybody sitting in the room, because we have smart people, and it's sad sometimes that we would treat our residents like there aren't smart people living in the city too. You know, there are, and we need to sit down again like this. I hope that we can do that. I've made a commitment to answer these questions here. This is what I'm dedicated to. I'm not dedicated to other stuff, superfluous stuff going on outside of these rooms. So this is my top priority right now. And Chris, I want to get you back down in front of people. Mr. Mel, Jeff, and anybody else sitting here, guys. If you want sit-down time, it's so simple as an email. My time is your time, right? And I will get these questions answered. I will start working on this on Monday, and I tell you Monday because I'm committed to two very time-consuming products. I will get these in written form, okay? And I put names beside these. I know how to get in touch with you all if I have extra information or if you have extra questions. Mr. Santiago, I'm sure will be happy also. His county email is accessible on the webpage. But we must get together again, y'all, and we must sit down. Jeff, I need your help to continue to beat the band about this as we move forward. You're so smart.
I just wanted to ask.
Sure, go ahead. No, go ahead.
You know, kind of, I went on, you know,
Blue Heron Park, that's right at Fort Smith and Ocam, right?
Nature park.
it's a nature park.
Yeah,
By Echo.
the Echo program in Volusia County. I think we spent, according to Echo, 58 grand there when we put in a little parking here. It was good. They had a nice sign. There was a $228,000 grant going to be released to Deltona, but Kelly and the engineers from Echo, they came to the walkthrough, rescinded the, can't build this here, it's flooded already, before any storm, before Ian. All of it. So my thing is, I want you to find out from the city. The city obviously knew that that area was flood prone because they lost $250,000 in grants. Why didn't they do anything proactive for this lady? Like, you know, the pumps were there, the hoses were there. And then they came out and talked to you, and you were there that day. They sat on their hands. They sat on their hands. They knew they had a problem. By sitting on your hands and sticking your head in the sand, it's not going to go away. We got to get proactive on this stuff instead
You know
of
that
reacting.
park was dumped?
What's that?
That park
Originally it was.
Yeah, I was there I bought that lot 32 years ago, didn't in that house, 30 years ago was.
Well, it's better than a dump now, but you need a houseboat.
Well, they
Guys, and I want to say this also, that I don't think this has been a pressing problem up until the last 2 years. We can put 1,000 buckets there and you can fill each one of them up with blame. You can. There is. You can. Exactly. I am very solution oriented.
One party to blame, okay? And we're going to talk about it because I tell you, you're going to get restitution.
Well, and again, yes, go ahead.
Does it make sense to, if there's any development going on, that they are banned from bringing dirt in from anywhere other than existing retention ponds, and force the builders to dig out our existing retention ponds to a
good idea.
depth?
That won't fix it though, because they'll move it around.
I asked
It wouldn't fix it, but it might be a start.
No, because then you got to calculate slope and runoff and speed.
Listen, all of these ideas put in a bucket, because here's the thing, you either disprove it or you use it. You know what I mean? There's nothing out there, because this community, we're in such a state right now that Pragmatism is good, but so is spitballing, y'all. Okay, and that's what I want to continue to do. I want to hear from each one of you in my email. I will promise you this, as I said, tearing this off, or this is going back to my office tonight. I am heavily committed with a work project in my real life, but I'll be done with that as of this weekend. And come Monday, I will be tackling these. I will reach out to each of you. If you're so inclined, please, please, please email me. But as these questions stand, I'm going to take these. You will see these presented to the city manager. If you all would like, I would like to consider this a peer group, if so much as you all would email me, okay, in this respect, that we are at this time, I consider a peer group, right? And if you email me and say, add me, then we will be put on a group. We'll continue the conversation. That is my passion, right, is implementing, is solving, right? So I want to move forward with this, and I will promise you and make this commitment that we will sit down and I will ask of the people that need to be asked to come to the table, because, again, everybody needs to be sitting in the room at the same time so that we don't get the ask mom, ask dad thing. That day has come to an end. You have two commissioners here tonight and a county councilman that this is not their district. Everybody was welcome, but that care. Maritza Vila Vasquez, she is commissioner for District 3, and Davison is 1. And listen, we are here because we want to be and because we need to be. Also, if you have family that you know that needs help, please reach out to me. You see the resources that we have. All of these resources will be provided at City Hall, and I'll ask also about the library, okay? David, I want to thank you for coming out, right? And if you have county questions, David he is your representative, and will answer those also. But I would be glad to include him on our continuing dialogue, because it does take a village, you know what I mean? And your problems are my problems, right? So email me, call me. Most of you have my cell phone number. If you want it, let me know. I give out my city and my personal because that's just, you know, I'm busy all the time and I could answer either one of them. If you have any other questions, go ahead, David.
When the water goes down in Mel's property, we're gonna have a big barbecue.
Yeah, there you go, Mel's doing barbecue.
David, one question.
Yeah,
You
sure.
got 3 million before.
When that happens, I'll just come across the lake. So since we're basically
There's 3
neighbors.
commissioners here, that's half the commission, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the fireworks.
You mentioned something earlier, I don't know if someone who's here from planning and zoning was confident that there was a good change made there. My question to the commissioners is, they voted 7-0 to not approve the ARPA for reasons, beach depth, flooding, on and on. You all voted for it. What happened? What happened?
Time out.
You weren't there, I know.
Okay, I want to clarify that
You were there for the ARPA.
a lot of us weren't there when that happened. So I think it's a little disingenuous to
No,
blame the commission
I'm
as a
not
whole.
saying you voted for
Yeah.
it. It was voted for by the commission as a whole.
As a body.
Are we really gonna listen to planning and zoning? What's the point? You
No.
asked me to come get on that. I was like, they don't listen.
Here's the thing. What I'm saying, there's 2 different bodies that we're talking about. I'm talking about our building department right now. Planning and zoning is its own separate board and body, and
But does the commission really take what they say?
Absolutely we do.
In that case.
Absolutely we do, and I'll tell you this also, something to think about as well. And Mel, you made a very good point the other night. Here's the thing, at any given time, on any given project that we're given to make a vote on, in quasi-judicial or otherwise, we are always at the threat of a lawsuit. Because do you know, let me tell you what the biggest threat is that, first of all, the way that our state government is set up, it is very heavily favored toward development and developers. That's developer lobbying money, that's developer's attorney, and we are limited by what we can do, first of all, impact fees. We get to maybe push a thimble through every year, okay?
But keep the surety bond.
But here's the thing. Also, we get told in almost every meeting that I've been in, as far as developer, given what my anti-development reputation is, which I'm not, I'm a responsible development, this is what's always told to me. You know, there are laws, and we have laws, and we have property rights, and that's what we work with. The threat of being sued all the time. Any given thing that we're given to vote on, we can be threatened to be sued by either the developer or the community, right? And or both, exactly, depending on how it is.
Personally or professionally.
Well, and listen, that is continuing dialogue for another day, another time, but just the more you know what I mean? So I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, especially you guys. I really, really appreciate it. This is a multi-tiered issue that we're going to continue to work on. You have the commitment from not only myself, but again, Maritza's here, Davison's here, so should you have anything else, let me know, and we'll have this information for you. Karen has, oh my Lord, she brought candy, so there's that too. So thank you guys.